All right, what's up, guys? It's Kenny Florian. I'm here with Antonio Rivers. We are in Charlotte, North Carolina, over at A&R Tactics, where I've been teaching a couple nights a week. So anyone who's in town and want to come in and train with us, come on in. We do a bunch of different things. So give us a shout. ANRtactics.com, is that what it is? All right. So check out the website, guys, and do a lot of cool stuff. If you're interested in doing no-gi with me, come on in. So I think what makes jiu-jitsu difficult sometimes is sometimes we feel like we need to kind of fight them on fair terms, on even terms. What gives us the ability to dominate a certain position is actually the fact that it's unfair, right? So the critical thing about jiu-jitsu is we're always trying to weaken our opponents and strengthen our position, right? So we want to systematically weaken them piece by piece, and then beat them, right? Even, in all different types of, whether you're talking about warfare or fighting, you're trying to bring them into a domain where you always have the advantage, whether it's superior positioning, superior weaponry, attacking them at night with night vision goggles, coming in with more men, whatever it is, you're looking for that unfair advantage. Okay, and even in positions that are seemingly dominant, like mount, side control, back mount, I see a lot of guys not take advantage of those opportunities of weakening their opponents. If you allow them to play with all of their limbs, it can be difficult, even if you have a dominant position. So what I want to talk today about is, look, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but let's talk about taking away someone's defensive frames, okay? So if I have Rivers here and you're in side control, right? If I'm already past his legs and I'm occupying this space between armpit and hip, my work is still not done. First of all, if I want to advance position, if I want to get control of a lever, right, a neck, all that stuff, like, I need to be able to force them into a worse position than where they're at, or systematically weaken them piece by piece, as I was talking about. So if he has, let's say, this frame in my waist, he's got this frame in my neck, which is already uncomfortable. You can kind of hear me talking a little weird. Right? This can be uncomfortable, right? If I have a dominant position like this, I should not be the one that's uncomfortable, right? He should be the one that's uncomfortable. So that means I'm going to get him to carry my weight, right? So I'm going to put some kind of pinning pressure right along his shoulders. I'm going to make sure that he doesn't have access to his legs anymore. Like, I don't want these to weasel back in, try to push me away and get back to a guard, right? So I'm going to position my body properly. I'm going to pin the shoulders properly, but then I'm going to kind of take these guys away, because they can be very annoying. So if I've done my job and my hip is kind of connected to his hip, or my leg is kind of too tight for his legs to come on the inside, he's gonna look to try to use these defensive frames to kind of bridge or extend a little bit, and then maybe get his legs back in the picture. I don't want these back in the picture. I need to take them away. So first thing I'm gonna do is, as he goes to frame, right, there's going to be a little bit of extension. I'm going to take advantage of that extension. With his arm in tight, he's protecting the space a little bit, but at a certain point, if he wants to get his legs involved, he does need to kind of push a little bit, either rotating his body either this way, right, to get that leg in, right? And either way, this one's going to be involved. So once I feel that this is getting away from his body, right, it's going to be easier for me to control that lever of the arm. So I'm actually going to use my body weight right around here at the wrist, which is closer to the end of the lever, and I'm going to sprawl on it to try to take it away, and I'm going to open up that much more of that space between armpit and hip. Okay? If this is staying home here, my hips really can't go very far. Okay, so if I'm here and I'm like trying to get on the inside, or I'm trying to make all this movement here, right, I'm going to take some of that weight off of him here, right? And now I'm pretty like tight and connected to him, but here's where he can start to kind of take advantage and kind of push me away, scoot his hip away, and now he can get his legs back in play. Okay, so I don't want to move too much when I'm in this position. I'm going to take my hip, I'm gonna sprawl it down to the floor. Can you utilize that arm anymore?
Not at all.
Okay, so I'm sandwiching his arm right at the level of the wrist between my hip and the floor. Okay. So here, move it around. Move, yeah, see if he can kind of get that. Do it again. It's pinned to the ground. Now, I'm gonna take my leg, I'm gonna take it on the inside of that elbow, and now I'm gonna drive the arm up. How do I drive the arm up? Now, again, I'm gonna attack the end of the lever. Right now, this is the end of the lever, but as soon as this arm goes in tight, this is gonna be the end of the lever. So that means I'm going to be driving it up here with my hip. I'm gonna be raising that elbow as high as I can. Once it goes right above the shoulder, he's weakened significantly, okay? And then I can kind of occupy that space and start to reside into his armpit. I'll show you what I mean. But if I'm trying to drive it up, give me some resistance here, and see where my knee is, like by the armpit, and I'm trying to bring this up, it's not gonna happen. Or if I'm just trying to open up my leg here, keep this nice and tight, it has a little bit of success, but it's gonna be tough. I want to take my knee, instead of having it reside in the armpit, all right, I can take my knee and start to come up this way, or I can take my hip and start to open that up. And now, come on the inside. Now my hip is on the inside of the armpit, taking up all that space, and I've done a much easier job of getting this arm up and out of the way. So the first one we want to address is really this near side frame, if we can. And this is how I'm going to do it. One more time. This is annoying on my neck. I have to do something about it. I'm going to sprawl here for the time being. Can you use that near side frame anymore?
Not at all.
Okay, now I'm going to come on the inside and I'm going to back up either with my butt or with my knee. Once I have his elbow higher than his shoulder, I weaken him significantly, and now I'm gonna get my knee as high and tight to his head as I can. Now, can you use your near side frame?
Not at all.
He's got to kind of get this thing back in play. So if I relax my hip and I get lazy with my hip again, he gets this back and he's able to work it again. So once I take something away from someone, I do not want them to get it back. Not the end of the world because I'm in side control, but why would I do all that work for nothing? So now, by keeping my knee here, I make it, basically, this arm has been cut off. Here. Now, I have to do something about this far side frame, okay? So now, a couple things I can do, all right? Again, this is the end of the frame, but he kind of has it in my neck. There's not a whole lot I can do. If I go to back away and get this off, this is where maybe he can push me away or get an underhook, and now it's problematic. Anytime I make big movements, I offer big space. We don't want that. So I want to be able to retain this control and maybe look for the short part of the lever. So now I can actually start to open up this side. Now, can you push me? Mm-hmm. Now I'm opening up a lane for my knee to travel through. I'm gonna hold this, I'm gonna put my weight here like towards Rivers' head on the mat, try to bridge me. And I can slowly get into a mount position and make things worse for him. Okay? And that's the only reason I'm gonna be able to get an easy mount is I'm getting these pesky arm frames, these defensive frames out of the way to open up more space so I can occupy. Okay? Now, from there, maybe he offers something up. He gets a little panicky, he wants to move too much, and then I can actually maybe get a submission. Let's say we're here, okay? And I've taken away this defensive frame, and let's say his arm is on the outside, so instead of out here, right, it's out here. So now I can't really open this up as much, right? So as I go to open, but keep your elbow tight, I can't really open this up as much, but he is giving me excellent control of this arm. Now I can step over, I can come through, and I can start to attack the arm. Right? So instead of realizing, hey, I don't want him to kind of trap my arm and get this up and out of the way so he can mount, maybe he goes to try to hug me and keep me tight. So in doing that, instead of doing this, for example, let's say I'm here, and Rivers feels that I'm starting to open this up. He goes to wrap around my arm. So now I can't open this up anymore. However, he has given me and conceded his arm position. So now this is where an easy arm bar takes place. This way. This is where I can start to step over. I can lift up. I'm sliding my other foot into that armpit, controlling that space. Now my knee comes up, and then I can kind of attack that arm. So it doesn't happen by mistake. If this guy doesn't want to be submitted, he's going to keep everything in tight. He's going to start to try to manipulate my hips. He's going to start to move me. He's going to start to buck. It all starts with me trying to weaken him first. Then things happen. Either I take things away from him so much that he has to panic and do something dumb, right? He tries to get that last escape in. He tries to make some kind of explosive movement. He offers up more real estate, right? This is how you can create that really bad day for someone. And I talk about this a lot with my students. Is like, you want to try to create that bad day of like, a bad day isn't just one bad thing that happens. It's kind of like this one bad thing that snowballs into other bad things, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. That's how you kind of want to structure your jiu-jitsu eventually, to the point where, you know, whether it's creating a system for yourself, and that's all well and good, but, you know, the basis of having a successful system it should always come down to weakening your opponent first. So I don't beat them straight away just because I got lucky. Yeah, maybe that happens. But it needs to make sense. I need to weaken them piece by piece. Let's say I'm in the mount here, Rivers. All right. Especially no-gi, it can be really difficult. If someone wants to kind of, you know, keep their arms in and just play super defensive, it can be very difficult for me to kind of submit them, okay? And at the very least, I'm gonna try to, again, weaken them first. I'm not gonna just wait for an arm bar or just try to like force a paintbrush or a Kimura here. Like, it's just not gonna happen, okay? So I'm going to weaken them first. I'm going to get control of that end of the lever, which is his head. His head is connected to his spine all the way down, right? And I'm gonna kind of like get his head to kind of go offline a little bit. So I'm not gonna be terribly mean about this, but I would take my shoulder right on like the upper part of the cheek and just try to get his head offline. Instead of everything being tight in one unit here, head aligned with his spine all the way down, I'm going to kind of like off-center his head just a little bit, kind of weaken the system a little bit. So getting his head offline a little bit. I'm gonna be conscious of any bridging over to this side because my arm is trapped at this moment, right? So I'm just gonna kind of lean a little bit. I'm gonna have my hooks ready, right, to kind of attach if I need to, right? And I'm also gonna lean over to one side and make things even more difficult. Okay, I'm gonna take it easy on your head. And now I'm going to kind of get, again, at the end of the lever, this is the arm, this is where his arm is residing right now. Yes, it's in here, but it's gonna be tough for me to push this down to the floor. This is gonna be the end of the lever for me. He's making a shorter frame to use his elbow to kind of push, or maybe his elbow on the inside of my knee to push. That's what he has to use to kind of, that's his best defensive frame in this spot because I'm not giving him a whole lot of space. And that's how we kind of learn how to shrimp and escape, right? So, all right. Here, putting a little bit of pressure on his face. Now I'm gonna get at the end of the elbow and I'm gonna kind of walk here. Keep your elbow down. Again, if I try to go up by the armpit, he's gonna be very strong and it's gonna be really difficult. As I go out towards the elbow and I kind of, just like I'm getting good traction to the floor, I'm walking this up. Once I have his elbow past his shoulder, everything gets super, super easy here. That's where I can kind of start to get on the inside and maybe attack things like arm triangles, right? Maybe I can start to attack, I'm getting my chest behind his frame again, like right behind his tricep. I can start to get dip wraps, right? Attack his position, maybe take his back heel this way. Maybe again going in for armbar opportunities. But it's all happening because I'm taking away his defensive frames first, right? And it's the exact same thing from back mount. Real quick, just a quick example. A whole lot of hand fighting can take place here, right? So again, I need to be able to get these guys out of the picture, right? Controlling, especially like the hand, right between the pinky and the wrist is a good way to kind of control, right? Get these kind of behind or get these kind of different various traps, whether I'm in here, right? Coming in here this way, getting his arms out of the way first, then attacking, right? Controlling his arms away from his body, away from my attacking arms, right? So I'll hide this, go ahead, right? And then I'm sending it away, so now making you choke a lot easier. So again, just thinking about your positions in terms of like weakening them first, then going on the hunt for submission is going to help you a heck of a lot more.